In Britain, depreciation has always been the hidden cost of motoring. Buy new, and the moment you drive off the forecourt, your car starts losing value. But for some models, the drop is brutal. After just 3 years, owners can be staring at losses of 50 to 60%. And these aren't obscure cars nobody buys. They're family saloons, premium SUVs, and even an award-winning EV. What drives such steep falls? It's rarely one factor. Sometimes it's shifting tax rules, like the changes to company car benefit in kind that hit diesels and later favored hybrids. Sometimes it's infrastructure. EVs that looked futuristic in 2018 can feel outdated by 2021, as rivals arrive with bigger batteries and faster charging. And often, it's simply the UK market itself. Conservative buyers trust German badges, while cars from France, Italy, or Japan struggle for resale demand. This video isn't about calling these cars bad. Some are brilliant to drive, others supremely comfortable or rock-solid reliable. But if you buy them new in Britain, the numbers don't lie. You'll lose a fortune when it's time to sell. Let's count down 7 used cars that plummet in value after just 3 years, starting with Jaguar's all-electric gamble that went from futuristic halo car to bargain bin EV faster than anyone expected. Number 7. Jaguar I-PACE. When it launched in 2018, the Jaguar I-PACE was a genuine milestone. It beat Audi, BMW, and Mercedes to market with a premium EV, won European Car of the Year, and gave Britain a futuristic halo car. Early adopters loved its sleek design, sharp handling, and luxury cabin, while Jaguar marketed it as the start of a bold new chapter. Fast forward 3 years, and reality has been harsher. Used I-PACEs now suffer some of the steepest depreciation in the UK, values often down by 55 to 60%. Why? Several reasons collide. First, technology moves fast. Rivals like the Tesla Model Y and Kia EV6 arrived with longer ranges and faster charging, making the I-PACE feel dated almost overnight. Second, charging infrastructure in Britain still leaves gaps, especially outside cities, which dents confidence in older EVs. And third, fleet buyers, who drive the used market, moved quickly to hybrids with lower benefit-in-kind tax, leaving the I-PACE with weaker demand. Reliability hasn't helped either. Software glitches, infotainment resets, and long waits for parts undermine trust. Add in concerns over future battery replacement costs, and second-hand buyers tread carefully, forcing prices down further. For original owners, the I-PACE has been a painful lesson in how fast the EV market evolves. What started as a £70,000 statement car can now trade hands for less than a new Nissan Leaf. If the I-PACE shows how rapid tech shifts can devastate resale, the next car proves that even timeless Italian style struggles when the UK market refuses to play along. Number 6. Alfa Romeo Giulia. When the Giulia finally arrived in Britain, it was hailed as Alfa Romeo's renaissance. Rear-wheel drive, elegant styling, sharp handling. It was everything enthusiasts had begged the Italians to build. On a winding B road, the Giulia could genuinely rival a BMW 3 Series for excitement, and motoring journalists sang its praises. For a brand often written off, this looked like the comeback. But 3 years on, the UK used market tells a different story. Values have plummeted by around 50%, and Giulias often sit unsold for months. Why? Demand has always been fragile. Company fleets, which keep German rivals buoyant, almost completely ignored Alfa. Independent garages are less familiar with the cars, which scares off used buyers worried about servicing. Running costs also hurt. Petrol models in particular feel thirsty against rising fuel prices, and insurance premiums are higher than rivals. Then there's simple perception. Alfa's long reputation for patchy reliability still lingers in Britain, even though the Giulia itself isn't a disaster. Buyers shopping for a used saloon at £15,000 often prefer to play safe with a BMW or Audi, leaving the Alfa languishing on forecourts. For enthusiasts, the Giulia remains a gem to drive. But in the UK market, love doesn't always translate to resale strength. For new buyers, that means brutal depreciation. For used buyers, it can mean a bargain, if they're brave enough. And if Alfa's charm couldn't sway British buyers, our next car shows how even France's boldest attempt at premium luxury never convinced the UK market. Number 5. DS7 Crossback. When DS launched the 7 Crossback, it was meant to show France could play in the same league as Audi and BMW. Bold styling, jeweled headlights, quilted leather interiors. It had all the theatre of a luxury SUV. On paper, it offered space, comfort and equipment levels that shamed some rivals, costing far more. In France, it made waves. In Britain, it barely rippled. 3 years in, depreciation has been brutal, often 50% or more. The reasons aren't hard to find. First, the DS badge carries little weight in the UK. Buyers still see it as a dressed-up Citroën rather than a true premium brand. That perception makes fleet managers nervous, and without strong fleet uptake, used demand collapses. Second, competition is fierce. The same money buys a used Audi Q5, BMW X3, or Volvo XC60, badges with far more trust and stronger dealer networks. Even if the DS comes fully loaded, British buyers hesitate. Residual values suffer further from limited awareness. Many UK buyers don't even know DS exists as a standalone brand, which leaves Crossback sitting on forecourts far longer than rivals. Dealers often slash prices just to move them on. The DS7 isn't a bad car. It's comfortable, distinctive, and well-equipped. But in Britain, where badge prestige drives resale, it's simply never stood a chance. And if a French SUV trying to look premium depreciates fast, the next example is even harsher. A genuine German flagship that can lose tens of thousands before its first MOT expires. Number 4. BMW 7 Series. Few cars announce success quite like a BMW 7 Series. With list prices starting around £75,000 and stretching well beyond £100,000, it offers limousine comfort, cutting-edge tech, and an image of understated prestige. For company directors, chauffeurs, and the fortunate few, it feels like the pinnacle of German engineering. Slip inside and you're treated to massaging seats, a whisper-quiet cabin, and enough gadgets to make a showroom tour last an hour. Yet in Britain's used market, the 7 Series is one of the fastest depreciators. After just 3 years, values often drop by 55 to 65%, with cars that once cost £80,000 trading for under £30,000. Why? First, private demand is tiny. Most UK buyers in this bracket lease or go for SUVs instead, leaving the saloon to depreciate hard once it leaves corporate fleets. Second, complexity is daunting. Air suspension, gesture control systems, night vision cameras. When they fail, repair costs are eye-watering and buyers know it. There's also the prestige paradox. In the UK, a 5 Series carries nearly the same badge appeal with lower running costs, so used buyers gravitate that way. The 7 Series becomes harder to shift, even at bargain prices. It remains a superb car to drive and be driven in. But depreciation ensures the first owner pays dearly for the privilege. And while the BMW shows how even flagships can collapse in value, Peugeot's stylish 508 proves that being elegant isn't enough if the UK market simply isn't interested. Number 3. Peugeot 508. When the latest Peugeot 508 arrived, it turned heads. Sleek, coupe-like styling, frameless doors, and a futuristic i-cockpit interior made it one of the most striking mainstream saloons on sale. Motoring journalists praised its looks, comfort, and economy, and on paper it seemed like Peugeot had finally built a car to rival the Passat or Mondeo. But Britain's market had already moved on. By the time the 508 hit showrooms, family saloons were in steep decline, with buyers rushing towards SUVs instead. Fleets, once the backbone of big saloon sales, had little interest, preferring German diesels with stronger predicted residuals. Private buyers, meanwhile, worried about resale and limited dealer support compared with Volkswagen or Ford. The result? Depreciation set in quickly. 3-year-old 508s often lose around 50% of their original value, sometimes more. That means a £30,000 saloon can end up worth closer to £15,000, or even less if it's diesel-powered in a post-ULEZ Britain. It's not that the car is poor. Owners praise its comfort, equipment, and style. The problem is simple: demand. In the UK, style alone isn't enough to rescue a large French saloon from sliding values. And so, the 508 joins the growing list of cars that look fantastic new, but leave first owners counting heavy losses at trade-in. And if Peugeot's elegant saloon suffers from a shrinking market, Volvo's S90 shows how even Scandinavian class and refinement couldn't convince British buyers to look beyond Germany. Number 2. Volvo S90. The Volvo S90 was launched as Sweden's big statement, a sleek saloon to rival the BMW 5 Series and Mercedes E-Class. With its minimalist cabin, high-quality materials and Volvo's trademark focus on safety, it looked like a car that could finally tempt British executives away from the Germans. Add in hybrid options and frugal diesels, and on paper, the S90 ticked every box. But in Britain, the reality has been very different. Company fleets, the key buyers for large saloons, hardly touched it. They preferred the badge security of BMW, Audi, or Mercedes, where residuals are predictable and dealer networks are larger. For the private market, the S90 was simply too left field, desirable to a small group of enthusiasts, but invisible to most buyers scanning used forecourts. The knock-on effect has been savage depreciation. 3 years on, many S90s have lost over 50% of their original value, with £45,000 saloons sometimes advertised at under £20,000. It isn't because the car is flawed. Owners praise its refinement, comfort, and long-distance ability. It's because demand is too thin to support values. For those leasing, that depreciation is absorbed in monthly payments. But for buyers who paid full price, the S90 has been a sobering lesson that in the UK, brand perception can outweigh substance. And if Volvo's flagship couldn't hold its value, our final car proves that even bulletproof reliability means little when the UK market is set on German prestige. Number 1. Lexus ES. On paper, the Lexus ES should be a dream for British buyers. Hybrid technology that makes urban driving smooth and efficient, interiors finished to a high standard, and Toyota-backed reliability that means many examples will run for years without a major fault. For owners, it delivers exactly what it promises: comfort, refinement, and peace of mind. Yet when it comes to resale, the ES tells a harsher story. 3 years down the line, cars often lose 45 to 50% of their original value. A saloon that cost £40,000 new might now sit on a forecourt for little more than £20,000. And unlike German rivals, which fleets absorb in big numbers, the ES struggles with demand. Company car drivers rarely choose it, partly because Lexus has a smaller UK dealer footprint, and partly because residuals are so weak that lease rates look uncompetitive. Private buyers aren't flocking to it either. In Britain, badge prestige still matters, and while reliability counts in the long run, many shoppers at this price point want the image of a BMW or Mercedes on the driveway. That lack of demand forces traders to price ES models aggressively just to shift them. The irony is that the Lexus ES can be one of the smartest second-hand buys in Britain. Dependable, well-equipped and undervalued. But for those who buy new, it's a painful reminder that in the UK market, perception often trumps reality. So there you have it. 7 cars that look tempting when new, but in Britain's used market, lose value faster than most owners ever expect. From Jaguar's I-PACE, which went from award-winning EV to a resale headache, to Alfa Romeo's Giulia, loved by enthusiasts but ignored by fleets, and even the rock-solid Lexus ES, which proves that reliability alone isn't enough to hold value if badge prestige is missing. The key point is that depreciation isn't just about the car itself. It's shaped by company car tax rules, ULEZ zones, the speed of EV technology, and the deeply rooted habits of British buyers. A stylish saloon may be praised in magazines, but if fleets won't touch it, residuals will collapse. An EV may look futuristic, but without charging confidence, used demand dries up. For some drivers, that's not a problem. If you lease, it's someone else's headache. But for buyers paying full price, 3 years can mean a loss of tens of thousands. That's why understanding depreciation is just as important as knowing fuel economy or performance figures. What do you think? Have you owned a car that lost value faster than you imagined? Was it one of these 7 or something else entirely? Share your story in the comments. It could save another driver thousands. And if you found this video useful, hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell. In the next episode, we'll flip the script and reveal the cars in Britain that do hold their value, and why choosing them can make all the difference to your wallet.